They're agreeing to a ceasefire? Ooh, woo! Trump ain't even officially in yet. Oh boy, this should be interesting. I didn't expect to hear this today.
We do want to share some breaking news with you as relates to the conflict in Gaza. Take a good look at your screen here at 842 on the East Coast. You're getting a live look out in Khan Yunis, Gaza, one of the areas heavily impacted by the Israel-Hamas conflict. The Associated Press reporting on this Tuesday morning that Hamas has accepted a draft agreement for a ceasefire.
That's what it always looks like when you see these movies set over in the Middle East. It always looks toe up.
Ceasefire in the Gaza Strip and the release of dozens of hostages. Two officials involved in the talks saying this did happen on this Tuesday. A mediator out in Qatar saying that Israel and the Palestinian militant group were at the, quote, closest point yet to sealing a deal, end quote. The Associated Press obtaining a copy of the proposed agreement and an Egyptian official and a Hamas official confirming its authenticity. And Israeli officials saying progress has been made, but the details are being finalized. The plan would need to be submitted to the Israeli cabinet for final approval. All three officials spoke on conditions of being anonymous to discuss the closed-door talks. To give you some perspective and background of this, the United States, Egypt, and Qatar, they have spent the past year trying to mediate an end to the 15-month-long war and secure the release of dozens of hostages captured in Hamas's October 7th attack that triggered all of this. Some 100 people are still captive inside Gaza on this Tuesday, and the military believes at least a third of them are dead. Now, any deal is expected to deliver a pause in fighting and bring Israel and Hamas a step closer in winding down the most deadly and destructive war they've ever fought, a conflict that has destabilized the broader Middle East and sparked worldwide protests. Part of the reason for that controversy is that looming humanitarian crisis. You can see that in real time as people have literally pitched tents because they are displaced. And then we know there are many camps set up where people were told that they would be free from the fighting. And unfortunately, some of those camps have been targeted as well because Hamas will literally embed themselves inside and use those innocent people as human shields. Here at 845 on the East Coast, again, bringing you this breaking news, courtesy of the Associated Press. Hamas accepting a draft agreement for a Gaza ceasefire and the release of hostages. Again, this is preliminary information, so as we get more into our live now from Fox Studio, you'll be the first to know.
Okay, so preliminary. Sounds like they're close. Let's see, that was 9 hours ago. And what do we got here? There's another one. This one says on the brink also. This one's 11 hours ago. I think this is the closest that I found from different news outlets that that most of y'all watch. This is good news. This is good news. Tired of all this killing around the world. What we know about the potential. Okay, let me see something. This one's an hour ago. Let's take a look at this.
We could be just hours away from a long-awaited ceasefire and hostage release deal in Gaza. Officials tell CBS News both Israel and Hamas have reached a draft agreement. Earlier today, Secretary of State Antony Blinken said the Biden administration helped the deal gain momentum.
Really?
But over the past several weeks, our intensive efforts have brought us to
I can't believe it.
the brink of full and final agreement. I believe we will get a ceasefire. And whether we get there in the remaining days of our administration or after January 20th, I believe the deal will follow closely the terms of the agreement that President Biden put forward last May and our administration rallied the world behind.
CBS News foreign correspondent Rami Inocencio is in Tel Aviv with more.
Why am I surprised? Because Biden seems to like war. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm saying that. But okay.
What the eventual agreement could look like.
CBS News has learned from U.S., Israeli, and Arab officials that the draft for a ceasefire and hostage deal has been agreed to in principle. And if it all carries on smoothly, then Israel and Hamas will finalize it this week. Today, an Israeli government official here in Tel Aviv, who wants to be anonymous, told us the outlines of that deal. In phase one, Hamas would release 33 hostages made up of women, the elderly, the sick, and some children, in exchange for a higher number of Palestinian detainees in Israeli prisons. As for Israel's military presence in Gaza, that official said that assets, which we're understanding to mean military assets, would remain in Gaza, and that the IDF would establish a security buffer zone between southern Gaza and Israel. And as for the people of Gaza, humanitarian aid, which we know is so desperately needed now,
Lord.
especially at the height of winter, would be surged. The latest number we have on the death toll is over 46,500 people. That just crossed the 46,000 mark only last week. Pushing ahead to phase two, talks on that would start during phase one, and with the goal of releasing younger hostages and Israeli soldiers. But first, of course, phase one has to be agreed. If it does, implementation could start this weekend, with hostages starting to be released. The last time that happened was more than a year ago, but a reminder, we have been here before many times. Talks could collapse at any minute. Many are cynical.
I hope not.
But again, one more time, there is that feeling of hope, and that official says in large part because of the U.S. and the double backing of the outgoing Biden White House and the incoming Trump White House. Back to you.
Remy Inocencio.
I can't imagine that, living in a war zone like that. Bombs raining down on your neighbors' houses, your house.
Thank you.
Wow, man. All right. All right. Well, that's an update on it. Let's get it done, y'all. Let's get it done. Let me know if any more of y'all got any details. Put them in the comments section, all right? 10 million subscribers. Woo!